Welcome to another G4 Guitar Teacher Hangout. What we're going to do today is our normal format, ask questions and see if we can solve some problems and come up with some great solutions, ideas, and brainstorming as always. I'll start with you, Adam. Have you got any topics that you want to cover today?
Yeah, did you or you, David Minns, either of you guys find it hard to be an exceptionally good teacher and at the same time be an exceptionally good businessman and at the same time be an exceptionally good guitar player?
The balance of the three. Okay, cool. I'm gonna, just so you know, I just wrote these questions down and then I'll come back to you once I get David's, and that way we know what's on this particular video. Okay, so the balance of teacher, business person, entrepreneur, and guitarist. Yes, it's a tough one. Okay, fantastic. David, did you have a topic?
Yeah, maybe a very simple one. Actually, Adam, good to have you on the line. Want to talk about checklists, okay, and how you manage checklists within groups, because I'm getting more groups forming, more so than just one-on-one or two-on-ones. And I want to value you guys' experience about, okay, how do I manage the checklist in a group environment so I'm not writing everything down, etc.
Okay, good. Checklist in groups and eliminate writing. Yeah, that's a good one. And I'm sure Adam will be able to add something on this because he's got quite a few groups going, right. So he'll be able to give you some ideas. All right, so Ken, welcome. How are you, Ken?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Have you got any topics or questions that you want to cover today?
Question I had was about Facebook ads and how does doubling the amount of money I put into it, what is the effect? Does the ads double the number of exposures? I'm just kind of unclear about how all this works really, and also with the likes for the ads and the likes for the page itself. How can I leverage that? Because there's a whole bunch. I got a whole bunch of them, and I would like to have some sort of a way to take advantage of all these things.
Great. I've got some exciting things to tell you on all that because I've just come back from the seminar, and it's all the recent updates to Facebook marketing and Google marketing, Google AdWords, a lot of which has just been released in this last week. And Facebook are very proactive in this area, and Google AdWords fell behind a little bit, I felt, but they seem to have jumped back on the train and are in the race again. And so I'll give you some updates on what I learned and what I think we're going to be able to do, which is pretty exciting. All right, so let's go back to Adam's question, getting the balance between being a teacher, an entrepreneur, and a guitarist. And so how do we do that? How can we achieve that balance? I would say that, doing the three is, I've struggled with it. I started out, like most people, wanting to be a guitarist. That was my intention. It was never to be a teacher. I think I sort of fell into the teaching through necessity more than anything, but I think there was a little bit of ego in there. I think I had people asking me, hey, can you teach me how to play? And I wasn't really motivated by the money because I was teaching for nothing. Originally, I was just teaching anyone who would ask me. I did that for a little while, and as a teenager, I was doing it at school, and I just felt that I was cool because people were asking me how to show them something. And you can see this with any kid, whether it be a teenager or even a younger child. Ask them to teach someone else something and they like that responsibility. It makes them feel like they're good at something and important. So but as I got teaching and my teaching increased, I understand what you're talking about, Adam, in the sense that I felt that my guitar playing was suffering because I wasn't getting the main thing that I felt was suffering was that I was trying to be everything to everybody. I was trying to be this guitar player who could play every style, who could play every song that was in the top 40, knew everything, and it was just it affected my playing. I was essentially a jack of all trades and really not very good at anything. I wasn't a specialist. I wouldn't say I wasn't good, but I wasn't great at anything. I wasn't, I didn't have that mastery in any area. And I felt that if I did master an area, then I would quickly lose touch with other areas, and that would narrow my field down to the number of students I could teach. So I found that, and I not just myself, I found this with a lot of teachers, as they get into this sort of habit of where students are bringing in material, and they're saying, hey, can you teach me this? And so you start to teach them that, and so you do a little bit of that, and then another student brings something else in, and you're sitting there and you're working out 20 songs a day for different students, and you're sort of all over the place. And so what I did, part of the motivation for the G4 method was there are some essential skills that we all really need to have as guitar players. It doesn't matter what style you play. But I'm not going to teach you all these different songs. I'm not going to sit here and go through song after song after song in all these different styles, all these different things, and spend hours and hours, because I was spending a lot of time after teaching as well working out stuff for students. Sometimes it would be a bit too complicated to do in the lesson, or would just take too much time, so I'd say I'd do that. And because they would feel that they didn't realize that you'd be sitting there for 15 minutes working at a song, and they didn't realize that that you were working something out for them. Maybe they did know, but they didn't see it as value for them. They just were there twiddling their thumbs, watching their minutes go by. Then you're halfway through the lesson, and then you start teaching them something, and they feel like they've just sat there for half a lesson and it's wasted. So I just saw all these inefficiencies in the way that I was teaching early on, and also how it affected my playing. So I think one of the best things I did was systemize my teaching, because it meant that I could focus on what I was doing. I also became honest with my students and said, look, I'm not everything to everybody. That's not the kind of player I am. What I do is I'm a rock fusion player. That's what I like. I will teach you skills of guitar playing, and then it's up to you to sort of go down and work on the styles that you want. But if you are turning up here because you want me to show you every Metallica song ever written and every solo, I'm not your guy. That's not me. I'm doing something else. I'm giving you the skills, and then it's up to you to go and find that stuff. And since the internet came along, that's a lot easier. So the other balance there is the business, and from the business point of view, I did find it hard at times, because there are times when you've got to pay the bills, and you've got to put everything else on hold. You just don't have that time to practice 2 or 3 hours a day or more to be that pro level guitar player. So you end up finding yourself practicing an hour a day, or skipping days because you've just got too much going on and you're too exhausted, and even when you did practice, it's the end of the day and you're really tired. So the way that I sort of did it was really I prioritized, and that's the same as I talk about with the students, prioritizing, where guitar playing, this is what I do. So I have to do a certain amount of guitar playing every day. So I've got to do an hour of practice a day, no matter what. So everything else goes on hold, and I also have to do some quality practice. So I have to make time where I can do practice where I'm not really tired. And so I have this routine, and this is just the way that it works for me, the routine where every day at 6 o'clock I sign off, and from 6 to 8, basically from 6 to 8 is family time, and then from 8 till 9 is guitar time. And so those 3 hours are blocked out. I don't make any excuses. The only time that doesn't happen is if we've got some special event on or something, which is once a month. So yeah, that's pretty well how I do it. Maybe David, do you have any input on that?
Yeah.
You've got a full-time job as well, so David's not just.
Well, I've got the 4-legged stool. Well, 3.5-legged stool, because my day job is slowly winding up. For me, it's taking what you said, it's definitely time management. And currently, at the moment, I don't know where you are, Adam, but I haven't. With about 35 students, I still have time in my schedule to play, and I've got set gigs which I play every weekend. Fortunately for me, the gigs are fairly predictable. I know what I'm going into, so I block time, like David said, and I'll block time for for the rehearsal, I block time for the gig, whatever. And then on the business side, again, I just time manage it. You know, I'm not getting at the moment, thankfully, I'm not getting calls out of the blue saying, can I play this gig on Thursday night? Okay, pretty much there Friday night, Saturday night, Sundays and stuff like that. That's it. And at some point in time, I envisage that I'll have to consider what I'm doing there as the business takes off. And I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But at the moment, it's just really time management. What I am finding is that there's a certain benefit to being a playing musician when it comes to attracting students. Because it's something that comes up in the conversation during the first lesson interview we kind of have, and they kind of like that. And it's useful to know that, you know, like some parents or other students like the fact that you have a number of students, but also you're playing on the outside as well. So to me, it's actually attracted a couple of students in addition to the regular G4 side. On the business side, I've got to be honest, the business side, the bit I don't like is the flyers, but I have to do it. So again, it's just time management and blocking it in and forcing myself to get out there and get it done. You know, the e-marketing and stuff, the e-commerce stuff, I love that stuff, so I just have to, again, block time in the calendar to do that and try and stick to a schedule.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear. My guitar playing is fine. Like, because when I practice extremely efficiently, so even if I practice only for an hour, that hour for me is like 3 hours for like another person, because I'm not saying you guys aren't, I'm sure you guys are like that. You guys are like that too, right? You guys practice really efficiently, so I'm just saying my guitar playing is perfectly fine. What I meant more was the energy. That I put a lot of energy into teachings because I want to be what David talks about, putting a lot of energy into the teaching, so that's what I do. But I just find that having to be there and putting all this energy into it takes away the energy that I have about the ideas I have to get to the numbers I want. Like, I want to hit like 150 at one school and then open more schools. I just have all these ideas, and I just feel like the energy of teaching drains those my energy to implement those ideas and to just think about my business. And I just have this feeling that I can't open 2 or 3 schools and I can't get to 150 students and open other schools if I'm also a teacher. Like, I feel like I can't be a teacher and do all that. Like, if I'm a teacher, I could probably get 1 school to 150 and then that's it. But in order to get to 3 or 4 schools, I have to not teach. That's more of what I'm getting. My guitar playing's fine. I was just saying.
I'd say straight up there, Adam. Absolutely, you won't be teaching and running 3 schools. The teaching is something that you need to see as a stepping stone, and it's not that you're not helping people. You know, I'm not teaching anyone except my daughter, but I'm still helping indirectly lots of people learn guitar. So it doesn't matter. I don't need to be there to teach them. I still work with you guys. I still get the joys and the kind of the buzz of seeing, you know, students progress and hearing comments about how they're learning. And so you know, it depends what you want, of course. If you want that buzz, then still keep some students and teach those particular students. You might even just teach a select group of students. But you know, Joe Satriani was a guitar teacher for a long time. And his performance took off, so he didn't do as much teaching, but he still does some teaching every now and again. He does clinics and does things here and there. He just did a big thing over in California where they had, I think, like a week there. You could go and hang out with him and learn. So, you know, he's a teacher still. He enjoys that, but he's not going to be able to do what he does by teaching, you know, 40 or 50 students at home every week. That's something that he does more for pleasure, I think, than anything. So, yeah. So you're going to have to step back from the teaching at some point, and that's really the process here. And with any entrepreneur, is that have you read the E-Myth, Adam?
Yeah.
Have you read that? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you can see the process there is that right now you're building the role of the teacher, and so your plan is to step out of that role at some point. put someone else into that role. You've already got another teacher, but to completely step out of that role, so where you've got 2 or 3 teachers who are all doing all the teaching, and then you're managing it. And it's great when you get to that point. I loved that point, because I had, initially I had 1 teacher, and then 2, and then 3, etc. But there was this point where I had about, I think, 3 teachers, and I was able to step out completely of the teaching. And then I was able to go around and look at all the students. I would watch the classes. I would, talk to the parents. I just felt so free. You know how when you're teaching now, you're kind of in a rush. You don't have much time to speak to parents and all that. Once someone else steps in, like your assistant, so to speak, assistant teacher, that frees you up. And then you can say to the teacher, you take care of this class. I'm going to go out and talk to the mum and dad. It's a great transition, and they love it because they get more time to speak to you and get to understand what's going on, the process of it also. And your energy comes back. And also the teachers who you have employed, they won't be so zapped of energy because they've got you overseeing the operation, and because you've been teaching, you understand the role of group teaching, then you're able to say, hey, you need to pace yourself. Don't go too hard. The little kids come in from 3:30 till 5 o'clock. If you go hard and burn up all your energy, you're going to be tired come 6 or 7 o'clock. Make sure they eat and have water, and you know what I mean. You can kind of be their coach and make sure that they look after themselves and pace themselves through. Because even though I say put lots of energy into your classes, you also have to pace yourself. You can't come out and burn yourself out in the first 10 minutes. It's almost like a sport. When you've got an hour or 2 hours to play the game, or whatever it is, you can't just go out there and burn all your energy in the first 10 minutes of the game. Otherwise, you'll be useless for the rest of it. And it's the same with your teaching. You've got to pace yourself through it. Cool. Ken, have you got anything to add there? I know that you've done teaching for a number of years. Have you got any comments you want to?
Well, looking forward to the day that I'm able to step out of the role of teaching, although teaching is something that I really love. I enjoy it. I probably enjoy it more than I do actually playing guitar for an audience, honestly. I don't do much performance, although I do pray for my church every single Sunday. To me, that's not really performance. I'm a teacher, and I'm not going anywhere as a teacher other than stepping out of the role to be an entrepreneur. So I'm just looking forward to doing that. So I don't have too much input in that area.
Great. And you guys will always be teachers because you're always going to be. You may not be teaching guitar directly, but you may be teaching teachers, or you may be teaching managers. It doesn't stop. And it's just. I know that I would probably go insane if I couldn't teach people. I love teaching. I love the process of it. This is what I do. But you got to take it to another level, and that's what I realized is I was teaching for a good 10 years when I realized how I've got to take this to another level, otherwise I'm just going to be earning a wage for the rest of my life. And that's where I sort of took it to another level. And I do want to point out what David said before about the performance. I think that with students that's important, and even it doesn't have to necessarily be performance, stage performance. It can also be things like writing music, composing. I composed, and if you're not doing something around music, it's kind of like, well, what are you in it for? You don't perform, you don't write, you don't do anything other than teach. So I think we do need to maintain that, and we need to show them that we live the lifestyle of a musician because we love this lifestyle. It's what we chose. Okay, cool. All right, so I'll go on to David's question here about checklists in groups and how to. What else did you say there, David? Something about eliminating.
So basically, it's coming out. I'm getting bigger groups, 3s and 4s now, as opposed to 1s and 4s. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how best to manage the checklist when I'm going through it. I've got my checklist, which is my script, if you will, for the lesson. And I've got guys sitting out in front of me, and they're sitting there with their music stands, everything in front of them. How is it best to orchestrate making sure everybody's got the notes they need, but you've got the summary for the class on that one check sheet? So next week, when the Wednesday 4 o'clock class turns around, I'm not pulling 4 files, I'm pulling one check sheet for the entire class, and that tells me, hopefully, where everybody is in summary. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. The way that I sort of treat the checklist a little bit as that little bit of personal one-on-one time as well with each student. So because each student, the groups are small enough in that we can acknowledge each student and they get a little bit of that personal attention. So I don't really see a day where we have a group checklist for the whole group, because each student still has to be marked on where they're at. But what I do see, and I already put it up in the Facebook group recently, is how to improve the efficiency on this, and that's to get rid of the music stands. The music stands create a barrier between you and the student. They're also messy. The folders fall off, and you're gonna, it's not a great way to do it. Having a screen where you operate from that screen, everybody's on the same page. And then you just handicap each student based on the exercise, and then you have all their checklists or their folders over to one side. They won't even have them. They just walk in and they put it up on, say, a shelf, and then you can go through their checklists as you're getting them to do things, because you end up getting really good at this. For example, you might be doing a scale, and you might have the group handicapped as a C scale, and so then what you can do is just quickly have a look through their checklist when they're on the scale, and see who's completed the scale and who hasn't, and those who need to qualify for that scale, you can check them there and see if you tick it off. I don't know how, without seeing you in action and sort of seeing classes, I don't know if I can offer anything other than that when I did it, I pretty well, it worked well. It was something that I just didn't have a lot of problem with. So. Adam, have you got anything that you wanted to add there? Any thoughts of how you do it?
What was the specific question?
Basically, wanting to know how you can manage the checklists while, like 5 students at a time, having to go through, having to look at each checklist with students. Is that kind of what you're saying, David? It's just a lot of fiddling around? Yep. Okay, so...
Yeah. Well, trying to avoid fiddling around and being efficient in front of his students and efficient from my time point of view.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, what I would, sorry, Adam, how do you do that? I'll let you answer that question. How do you find it a problem?
No, and 2 things with the group when you're grouping. Let's say it's the junior levels. I find that junior levels 1 through 3, you can group almost anyone. Kind of like no matter where they are really together. So like if you have like someone who's junior 1 and someone who's junior 3, you can pretty much put them together and like they'll close the distance really fast. And then I would say juniors level 4 through 5 are also kind of, so they can be put together, and then junior level 6 and 7. I'm just saying, like if you're having scheduling conflict, you can put these kind of levels together, and they'll close the distance very quickly. I don't know if that makes sense. That's one. And then 2, but again, that's only if you're just trying to open more space in your schedule. And then 2, you get everyone doing something immediately. So say you're doing scales or whatever, you just get everyone playing immediately, and while everyone's playing, you can kind of go through and just glaze at the checklist real quick, and see who hasn't passed. And if someone has passed, you just make it harder for them. So if they're playing the scale, tell them to play it somewhere else, or play it faster, play it in triplets, play in 16ths. Just get them doing something else if they've already passed it. So
yeah, you get good at it. I think just through because I know what you're thinking is more forward, David, as your groups build, and you can sort of see that you've got 40 students coming on one day, all in groups that it might be a bit manic with 5 at a time, but it actually becomes almost, it's like driving a car. When you first learn to drive the car, it seems like you've got lots to do, but then after a while, you're not even thinking of anything. Everything is there in front of you. You just automatically do most of it, and it's the same with your teaching. It becomes automatic, and you also find that students sync, and I think that's what Adam was referring to. As the groups develop, the students start to sync. So those ones who haven't finished a scale or haven't finished a particular chord or whatever, they work harder to catch up and be in sync with the rest of the group. Whereas the students who have done those, they would still stay on those scales, but they're not pushing as hard. And that can sometimes seem like a bad thing. It can seem like we're slowing down the more advanced students, but in actual fact, what it does is your class will sync, and they all actually enjoy it because they're playing together, and that's what a lot of the time is what they're looking for, is that playing together, the experience, the social experience. One of the things, going down to Sydney and sort of going out in Sydney, and I went out on the Friday night, and it really is so obvious that we are social creatures. You look at all of the bars around Sydney, where the Opera House is, and packed with people who had finished work, having a drink. They've worked all week. You think they'd be tired by Friday, but no, they want to go out and socialise and hang out with everybody else. And it's just amazing the number of people that were out in these, open bars, open air bars, which there's a lot of them in Sydney, and being social. And so that is a lot of what happens here, is that people are social in the learning experience. So you'll find that they'll also start to raise it as well. So instead of you necessarily having to check the checklists all the time, you'll have students that'll come in and go, hey, I think I'm ready for the scale to get checked off on the scale this week. Or you can even ask them, who thinks they're ready for a tick this week? And that's one of the things I used to ask. Who thinks they're ready for a tick? Oh, yeah, I am. All right, what do you think you're ready for a tick on? Cool. Or if I was on a topic, okay, we're going to do chords now. Who thinks they're ready for a tick on one of the chords? And then the student would say, I think I'm ready for a tick on the A minor chord. All right, okay, I'll grab their folder. All right, everybody, let's see how the A minor chord looks. Let's do the test. And that way, I could tick off that particular student and anyone else who was ready to be ticked off. So they became, by doing that as well, they also became quite eager to tell me what they were ready to be ticked off on their checklists. They were kind of hungry and coming in. So by making the checklists as much their responsibility as yours, if not more, they will tend to self-monitor, and you won't have to worry about it so much. You're still going to check the checklists, but you will find that they'll kind of be chomping at the bit to go check their checklist. So yeah. The whole thing, and my whole philosophy with everything that I do is efficiency. I'm always looking at ways to be more efficient in what I do. So if you find something, and this sort of comes back to what Adam was talking about, getting the balance with his business and everything. If you find that you're not getting all the things done that you're trying to do, you are probably trying to do too much of everything, and it's not that you can't get a lot done, but you've got to be efficient about the way you do those things. So sometimes you need to put things on hold, and you have to come back and you have to build efficiency systems that will allow you to get more done, or you have to practice and become better. It's no different to if you want to shred, that's efficient picking. You've got to learn to be efficient about the way you use your pick and how much you put in. So a lot of guys who don't want to shred, who don't want to be speed demons, they don't care so much about the efficiency. That's not as important to them. But those who do, they have to really focus on efficiency. So if you want to get a lot of things done in life, if you're trying to balance all these different things, you need to become very efficient at them. It's not that you can't do them, but you've got to find ways to be efficient. And the whole efficiency thing, I love technology, and we can see how efficient the world's getting more and more and more every day. So some of the stuff that's happening, and I'm going to talk about the marketing in a minute, but it's just mind-blowing as to how efficient the world is becoming in getting things done. So yeah, so I hope that helps, David. I know it was a bit vague, but does that help at all?
Yeah. It does. I'm feeling my way. I think it's what I took from you is what I'm probably being what I took from you and Adam speaking was, I think I'm probably too active. I'm probably too active within the lessons, whereas I always feel I always have to be engaged with the students doing something, as opposed to what you said. For example, give them a scale, let them work the scale, whether it's the first 2 notes, whether it's the whole thing, whether it's in 4 sequences, whatever it may be. Get them all doing something and give yourself a couple of minutes to go through and look at things. You don't have to be constantly engaged all the time pushing through the lesson. Exactly.
There's a kind of a confidence there too that we sometimes feel we have to be busy. I go back to the old days of working in jobs when in my early 20s, late teens and early 20s, and the boss would turn up and you'd all look busy. and then the boss would go away, and you'd all sort of do nothing. And it was this, and it was silly. It really was silly, because at the end of the day, what mattered is how much, because we were in sales, what mattered was how much we'd sold and how much money the place had made. And it didn't matter how busy we were. And I remember making that point to the manager one day. I said, look, I top the sales ladder every week, so don't worry about what I do. Don't worry if I take an extended lunch. Whatever I do, just realize that I'm focused on results. I'm not focused on making you look like I'm busy, and they got that. So and I've really been doing the same thing with parents and students for many years. It's not about how busy I am, and I don't say it in that way, but it's a confidence of I know where we're going here, and you just have to do the things that I show you to do, and you'll be fine. You'll get where you want to go. So yeah. Sometimes you've got to give them some perception as well, but basically it is a confidence thing about, a confident teacher has that air about them that they get things done. There was an example that they've said over the last couple of days of where the guy who ran it, he came out of IT. He's now a very successful entrepreneur, but his background was in IT, and he said that there was a guy there who was he worked for the banks and all this, where they did all the IT for the banks, and he said this older guy was the smartest guy there. He knew the answers to everything or could fix any problem, but they would watch him, and he would just do nothing for like half an hour, and he said he went up to him one day and said, look, you just sit around and do nothing for half the day, and you think. He said, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, so I do it efficiently and do it properly, rather than just rush in and look busy. And that was, quite profound. Okay, cool. So we'll jump into the Facebook ads and the changes. Some of these changes have happened a few months ago. Some of them are just recent. The Google AdWords stuff is fairly recent. I think only last week or two that it's come online. So I'll explain how it sort of is happening, just so we get. And you guys have you guys heard of the term remarketing? Are you aware of? Yep. Okay, David has. Yeah, I know David's up on a lot of it now. Okay, cool. So remarketing has been around for a while, and I've been watching it just to see what happens and to sort of get a feel for it. But doing this seminar was good because it really reinforced that remarketing is something that we want to be doing. So how does it work? Well, basically what happens is that when you market on Facebook, you put an ad up there, people see that ad for the first time, usually, and then they click on your ad and go and have a look at your page, and they might either just look at the page or they might fill out the form, and so and that breaks them into two types of people. You've got the people who just looked, and then you've got people who fill in the forms. So at the end of that, it's gone. That's done. And they might see another ad of yours, it's possible, and they might decide to click again and go back to your website. That's possible, but it's not. There's no sort of way to sort of guarantee that. But what happens is that what remarketing is it's going back to those same people who have already clicked on your ad or filled in your form. And like I said, we can separate them into two groups, and then more groups. I'll get to that in a minute. But what happens is that you go back and advertise in front of those people, but you can advertise with a different ad, because maybe the first ad didn't quite get to them. It wasn't quite what they were looking for, something missing about it. And the second, and it might send them to a different web page as well with a different offer that makes it sort of the ability. So, because you already know that you've got that person interested, they've seen your brand before, they were interested enough in the first ad to click on it, that the web page itself didn't appeal to them for whatever reason. So by remarketing to those people, you're targeting people who already have shown some interest in your website. And those ones who have filled in the form, they've actually showed considerable interest. They're on another level. And so we've got an email list, and yes, we can email to them, but it's a little bit different when you remarket, because remarketing through Facebook, what that does is they may not read their emails, which happens a lot. 80% of emails, I think, don't get read. So the fact is that by targeting them again through a Facebook campaign, you go back in front of those people, and they start to see your ad. And you think of it in terms of something like KFC, right, or a Vegas casino or something like that. KFC would, if they advertised in front of people who have actually eaten their chicken before, who've been to their restaurant before, they're going to increase their chances of more sales than putting it in front of some vegetarian. I'm getting feedback there. Can you guys mic? Mute mic? Yeah. Check 1, 2. All right, good. Okay, that's great. So so if I'm advertising for say a Vegas casino, and it's better for me to advertise in front of people who have been to my casino before, who I know are gamblers, who I know are going to who want to do it. You know, they want another weekend at Vegas or whatever they're into. So you can see how it works, and I'm just using well-known examples here of targeting people who have already been your customers or already seen your ads, rather than targeting brand new people all the time. And you still target brand new people to bring them in, and then you remarket to them. And what they've found is that your conversion rates, and I'm only obviously going off for the stats of these other guys, but their conversion rates are sometimes 2, 3, 4 times as much through remarketing than they are by going to new customers completely. So that's the remarketing side of it. Now, to do that, obviously, in a done-for-you situation with what I do for some of you guys, and I'm doing it for at least 2 of you, is that's a lot of work. So it's not something that I can just do as a done-for-you campaign. Someone would have to be dedicated to that job of compiling those lists and remarketing and targeting people and coming up with new ads and all sorts of things. So there is some work involved in doing the remarketing. But we can look at that. There's certainly nothing is out of the question, but it's just a matter of how we do it, the logistics of it and the cost of it. But if it's getting your return, it's worth the investment. That's what we want to look at. What's the return to you in terms of your return on investment? So, for instance, and Ken, just to sort of answer your question, Ken's saying, okay, what if I double my budget? So let's say he's spending $200 on Facebook ads, and now he goes, well, I want to spend $400. So he's just doubled his budget. The fact is that if he takes that second $200 and remarkets back onto the people who didn't buy, who didn't enroll, or whatever, that's going to have, in theory, a much better return. He could get 2, 3, 4 times the return on spending that $200 on remarketing instead of spending it on brand new people again. So that's the difference, because when you remarket, the costs of your marketing actually come down because they're highly targeted, and it's that cost factor that comes into it. Not only are they more likely to want to click on your ads and buy what you've got to offer, they're lower per click. The cost per click is lower. Now, the question is, how do you do it? So first of all, if you want to remarket, then what you need to do is take all the people. This is from your point of view. There's obviously the ad side of it as well. But there's 2 types of remarketing. One remarketing is to use what they call a pixel. Facebook call it a pixel, and that goes into the website. It tracks everybody who goes through the website to your website, and then what happens is that they then put a cookie on that person, knowing that that person has clicked and been to your website, and then they can remarket to those people. The other one is to remarket to people who have actually taken some kind of action, like filling in the form, and remarketing to them. Either, again, they can use a pixel, or they can do it via uploading a list. So if you have an email list that you have now, then that can be uploaded into Facebook and made into what they call a custom audience, and then that you can have a campaign specifically for that custom audience. So, for example, you might have students who have learnt with you in the past, and you might upload that and call it a past list, and it could be a custom audience, and then you target just those people. Now, the idea is that you create an ad that would appeal to those kind of people. What would a past student be interested in with G4? Are they wanting to come back? Who knows? But that's what we've got to think about. We've got to think about what kind of ad would appeal to them. Maybe it could be a free lesson or a free assessment, see how you're going. It could be like a buy back your guitar situation. You'd be surprised how many students I've enrolled through buy back guitar. I did this years ago where I'd ring up ex-students and say, hey, have you still got the guitar? Are you using it? And they would often say one thing or the other, not using it anymore. Oh, great, is there any chance that we could buy that guitar back off you? Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay, come on in and we'll have a look at it and I'll make you an offer. They'd come in, I'll talk about, so what happened? You know, what happened to that dream of playing guitar? Oh, I got busy, blah, blah. I still want to play. Well, why don't you? And then we talk about it. Next thing they know, they're signing up again for lessons. But there was also the other ones, of course, who they're still playing, and then I talk to them, how's it going? That's great, excellent. You know, why don't you come down and I'll assess you, I'll see where you're at and see if I can give you any tips. They'd come down, do the assessment, and then they would sign up for lessons. So don't write off your past students. They are actually a very good audience, and that's why we could have an ad that targeted them. So with me so far, any questions?
So what you're saying is that, let's say, so I've got campaigns running at the moment that are basically are looking for website clicks, okay, and I'm doing some testing there. So those, if you will, basic ads in Power Builder, website clicks, they are no good for doing remarketing to later on because nothing's being tracked in terms of who's clicking on the website because there's no pixel. So to do the remarketing, you've got to start again with a seed level market strategy with a pixel in the website so you can track the action, and then Facebook themselves will then internalize those actions and build that into not a custom audience, but they'll build that into a remarketing group based on that ad.
Correct, that's it. They're tracking that data, and and so they know who are the people that have clicked on your ad.
Yeah, I've read a bit about this. It sounds really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's very powerful, and if you keep rinsing and repeat on your remarketing, you can really narrow down. You can actually end up running a campaign for one, and they talk about that as well, where that there's one person out there who inquired about lessons. And you want to and they were into, say, Bon Jovi or something, and then so you can run an ad and say, hey, learn your favorite Bon Jovi song, and knowing that it's directed at them, you've only got them. You've got to have a list of at least 100 emails, so you can't just target one in that respect. What do you need to have on?
So for the email list, you can't just have a list of 100 emails. I take it you have to somewhere have permission from the owner of the email to say yes, you can put them on a list.
Yes, if there's two things that happen. One is that, see, when people sign up to Facebook, you give your email address, and there's a couple of things in here, and the more I talk about it, the more exciting it becomes. But people, when they sign up for Facebook, they're signing under their terms and conditions, and the terms and conditions of Facebook are that they are permitted to put ads in front of you. And so if someone, the pixel, as we're talking about there, that's one way, but to make, and you can make a custom audience out of people who have clicked on your ad, so you don't need their email address. Facebook have got their email address.
Right.
Right. So the second thing is where you have an email list and you upload it to Facebook. Now you don't even have to have their permission because they don't know that you've uploaded that list. Only Facebook know that, and their terms and conditions of joining with Facebook. So you can, in theory, go and get a list from somewhere or collect people's email addresses, upload them into Facebook, and then Facebook, if they have that email address on their account, what they will do is they'll put ads in front of that person.
Yeah.
And that's the terms and conditions of being part of Facebook. So you can't complain. That's part of it. So that's one thing. But here's the brilliant thing about Facebook remarketing is that when you advertise, when you send an email out through email, and email still works. Email is still very powerful, but they know statistically most of those emails don't get seen. most don't get open. I know this. I've done many campaigns, and I know that I'm lucky sometimes if 5% of people will actually respond to an email or take any action. So usually it's around only 10 to 20%, somewhere around there, who actually open the email, and then a lot less than that actually do anything where they click on whatever you're offering to have a look. So the difference with Facebook is that it's going in front of people, they are seeing it, and you're only getting charged if they click on it. So you're getting charged. Email is free, so you're not getting charged, of course. But through Facebook, what they're doing is they're getting the ad up in front of people who perhaps are not seeing your emails or opening your emails. And so they're not buying from you because they don't. It's not that they don't want your product. It's just that they're not really seeing your ad because they're too busy filtering their emails or not opening their emails for whatever reason, or they're getting caught in the spam. Who knows? So whereas Facebook is saying, hey, bang, here's the ad, and they know because we've got the email address. It's all connected to the custom audience. So that's the kind of person who probably will respond to your ad. So it's much more efficient in that respect, but it's also getting to people who you may not be getting to normally. So that's the remarketing. But there's another thing that's quite interesting to think about, and these are called lookalike campaigns. And so what can happen is you can take a list of, let's say you've got 100 students now, or you've got 100 current and past students, 200 whatever. You've got a list. You can create what's called a lookalike campaign, and what a lookalike campaign is that Facebook will target people who look like people on your list. They won't actually target your list. They'll target people who look like it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So instead of going up in front of people who have no interest in what you're doing, what they're doing is putting your ads in front of people who resemble very closely, and you can even tweak the percentage. I haven't even looked at it yet, but you can tweak the percentage of how close they are. Are they almost identical, or are they sort of 50% like those people, etc.? So you can decide what percentage. So if you're looking at your students and you're saying, okay, my best students are this age, or you just pick your best students. You just create a list of your best students, and then you create a campaign out of those students, a lookalike campaign. It will go and find people who are very similar to those people. So if they have an interest in guitar, they might have an interest in the same music, which is what all these things that Facebook keep on people. It could be the income of the family. It could be the school that they go to. All this stuff that they have on you and me and everybody else to create these lookalike campaigns.
Very cool.
Yeah. So you can see the power of it, and as you bring more important people through, so as you advertise and you filter them through your system, then you end up with these custom audiences of people. See, you do your lookalike campaign, and then they go through your system, and then the ones of that lookalike campaign that are the ones who are buying from you, they then go into your list to create an even stronger lookalike. So obviously the more data they have, the stronger they can do. Now, in your local areas, and this is what you need to keep in mind. In your local areas, there's only so many people in your area, so it's not like it's going to take that long to work this out. You'll be able to sort of hone in on the demographic that's going to be right for your area because you're on a local level. But what it will do is that it'll make it very easy for you to go and open a second location and target exactly the right people in that next location, because you'll have all this data from your current location. You'll take it across to your second location, open your new school, and just run Facebook campaigns and Google campaigns targeting the exact people that you're looking for. So can you see how powerful it is?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. So
how does Google then feature this? You mentioned all that Facebook, and how does Google's reacting?
Google are doing the same thing, and they've just released it. They've got a thing called Google Match, I think, something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but I think it's called AdWords Match. And what they're doing, it's the same. It's really, they're just identifying all these traits. They've got all this information on people as your search habits and all the interests that you're in and everything. So they're able to do the same thing. And the beauty of this is that you can take your lists, your email list that you've got, and move it across and upload it into Google, and do the same things there. And as you build your email list there, they'll have, I'm not sure if they've got it yet, but it's very close. It's on the way. They'll have lookalike campaigns as well. So same thing. So you've got two of these guys operating across both. So you can take your data from here and move it across. But to add to all this is the fact that we're a network. So we can actually, and I can compile this data to where that we can create lookalike campaigns based on all the data you guys have got. So in all the students that you've got, if I've got their email addresses, if you share their email addresses with me, I won't email them directly. I won't target them. But even if I did, they wouldn't care, because we're all G4. They're not going to look at it like, who's this guy? They're going to just realize it's G4. And I wouldn't hit them with lots of emails or do anything anyway without you guys knowing exactly what I'm doing. But what I would do is take that data and create lookalike campaigns to try and find more people like that. So it's about consolidating our data. The saying in the industry now is, he who has the most data wins. And that's really the whole game. And that's why I created G4, is because I knew the data was what we needed, and we need to really leverage that and get as much data across the network as possible to be able to do these. And I've got a lot of the information anyway, because I get people filling in your forms on your website. They come into my Aweber, so I've got the email addresses there anyway for that. So yeah,
cool.
That's pretty well it on that. So it's just going to be a matter of really putting this together and tweaking it until we get these really honed in. And my goal for you guys is to give you the blueprint and the data you need to open a second, third, whatever location very quickly, so you can get it up and running without having to even do flyers. The flyers are solid, they work, we know they work, but at the end of the day, I think most of you would agree you'd rather just put some money into a Facebook ad that pays for itself, and automate it and have it done. So yeah.
So I've got a question about the number of likes that I have for the Facebook ads that I have. What can I do to leverage all these likes to do remarketing, so to speak? What can I do right now to do that?
See, the likes on your Facebook ad, it's still pretty hard, but that's the data that Facebook are collecting anyway, and so with a pixel, hopefully you'll capture that data through your campaign, and that's something that I'll do for any of you guys who I'm running your campaigns for. I'm going to do that within the next week, is put a pixel, Facebook pixel, in your websites to track, so we know who those people are. So the remarketing option is there. As far as leveraging them, sometimes when you post on your Facebook page, you can get engagement from those people, and that is something that I know a few people. I've met people who are doing that really well. But it does take a lot of work. It's again, there's so many strategies there, but if you're doing a little bit of everything, you're probably not doing anything very well. If you're posting up there, you're sharing information, you're somehow engaging them. That's what you ultimately want to do. You want to get them engaged off those ads, because they're liking your Facebook page. I think they're liking the ad mostly, aren't they? Is that right?
Yeah. It's mostly the ads. There's like about 120 likes for the ads, and for the Facebook page itself, I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember the exact number, but it's not nearly as much. But yeah, people are liking the ads like crazy, basically.
Okay, cool. So Facebook, what they're doing is they're liking the ads. It's Facebook who are liking the ads. People are liking it, but Facebook are putting it up in front of more people because of the fact that they're getting likes. And that's the way Facebook works, is that they what they do is they test on a small scale. So if you get a lot of shares very quickly, let's say you put up a post and you suddenly get 5 or 6 shares, Facebook will push that out to more people to get more shares. And so you get this where you get a lot of shares. if you get a lot of likes early on, then again they push it out to more people to get more likes. Because what Facebook are is a media company. They're basically wanting to put things up that keep us glued to Facebook, and so they don't want to put crap posts up that people aren't interested in. What they want to do is put things in front of people, so they test it on a small scale, and they go, hey, everyone likes this picture of a cute cat, so let's push this out there. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I did a post the other day, which was a share actually, and I'll tell you what it is just quickly, because it got a huge response. And some of the posts I put up there get next to no response, and then others just get a massive reply, which was good because I wasn't able to post for a few days because I was in Sydney. So there was a post there about what was it here? It was about that new MIDI guitar controller thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, it's had 15 million views, so that shows you how many people have seen it. The actual video, not my post. That'd be amazing if it did. But it's had 202 likes and 23, 24 comments. And a bunch of shares. So you can see that it's done very well to get that kind of response. And then I put up another one where it said, somebody saying, a girl saying, I wish to be irresistible to men and putting money in the wishing well, and she turns into a guitar, which makes sense for us. So that's had something like 160 likes, but not as many comments. So you see what I mean? Different posts get a lot of reaction, and then there are other posts where I've got next to no reaction. I've got a few likes and that's it. And, so that's and that's how Facebook works. Is they push out whatever is trending because that's
right.
That's what they want. They want more people engaged.
Okay.
That's how they
So what you're saying is about the likes themselves for my ads. Just to engage those folks who like my ads, I should probably post maybe like a video of me saying, hey, this is G4 guitar Oxnard, and or something like that. Should I do that on the actual page that we made for ads specifically?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Here's the other thing: is that video ads on Facebook are very cheap at the moment, and they won't stay cheap. But what they're doing is they're trying to get people using Facebook video ads, and video ads convert at a higher rate as well. But here's the thing: this is where it all sort of comes together. Is if you do these cheap video ads, which are costing something like 3 cents a click, which is very cheap. Those people then become data for your remarketing program. Make sense? So you'll get a lot more clicks by putting a video, even if it's not a very good video. Doesn't matter. Just by putting a video up, it could even be. It doesn't even have to be anything other than you playing a day. You can sit there and play guitar for 30 seconds and say, "Hi, I'm from G4 Guitar Oxnard. If you're interested in learning, come and see me." Just look for something, do something half decent. We don't want to be embarrassing ourselves, but keep in mind that you can run very cheap video ads right now. Even your video, Adam, which is very well done, we could run that as a video ad, and that would get lots of cheap clicks, and and then just maybe take the video and put a few things on there to let people know that it's wherever you are.
Okay, so this thing that I should do, it should be an actual.
Getting feedback.
There's a whole lot of feedback going on here.
Yeah, Adam, can you? It sounds like okay. Yep, go. Okay, Ken.
Okay. So if I were to put you're talking about a video ad that I should run, as opposed to doing a post on the page, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So when you say that it's really cheap to run an ad, and you're just paying 3 cents per click, just just for a number, so then I would actually get a bill at the end of the month for the number of clicks that I'm getting, correct?
No, not necessarily. What you can do is just nominate how much you want to spend, and then Facebook will use that budget. They'll just spend. You just say, I want $5 a day or $10 a day.
Right. Right. So how do I go about setting that up?
Okay. If you do a video, I can do it all for you as part of your campaign. It's no problem for me, and for any of you who want to do it as a done for you, it's no extra. I won't. Doing the remarketing is going to be something that we've got to work out, because it's obviously there's time and monitoring and creating the ads and all that.
Yeah.
But for a video ad, it's it won't take me long. If you send me the video, the finished video, then I can then use that video to make you a video ad. So
30 seconds.
You can make the ad as long as you like. They don't care. It's just so I would probably aim for 2 minutes, because a longer video is just going to mean they're going to more chance of probably getting the student. 30 seconds is over in 30 seconds, whereas 2 minutes, it's going to be more content. David has done a whole bunch of videos on skills, which even things like that, teaching something. And if you're targeting your area, remember you're targeting students in your area wanting to learn to play guitar. If you're teaching them basics, beginner skills, and how to get started on guitar, rather than just selling G4, rather than saying, hey, come and learn a G4, what it is, you can say, hi, I'm Ken from G4 Guitar in Oxnard, and I'm going to show you how to get started on guitar. I'm going to show you the very first points about learning guitar. And then what you do is you give them a little bit of a lesson, a video lesson, and that's what's great about what we do, is that people will watch it, and then that video could go for 10 minutes if you like. And what you're doing through it is you're showing them the G4 materials, and you're explaining, so we've got a checklist here. So what we're going to do is we'll start you on the checklist. First thing we need to know is the parts of the guitar. So let's have a look. This is the body, this is the neck, and so you sort of go through that, and then the same as you would in a lesson, but maybe speed it up a little bit more, and hit the hot points. How to hold your pick. Okay, let's play something very basic, and play Smoke on the Water or something, and just show them how you're doing it without teaching them. Just sort of show, okay, this is what it's all about. And there's lots of ideas you can do here, but I think if you can come put a video together, and then you do several different videos, and then just see which ones do better. And if all of you did videos and we tested different videos and found out which ones were working best, maybe even just share the video across. So instead of doing Ken's video, maybe Adam's got a better video that people are more into, and run that video instead. Whatever's going to get you the return, but also personalizing it, having you in the video, I think is very powerful as well, because you will become. You think about it. How many Facebook ads are you seeing with guitar teachers in your area? None. I don't see any.
Not a single one.
Yeah. So it's a huge opportunity, and we're talking about 3 cents for someone to watch that. TV.
Yeah.
TV charges a lot more. We're talking about highly targeted people here, people who are interested. And then we've also got the remarketing ability of taking that person and remarketing back to them with an offer. Come and learn with G4, and we'll throw in a free trip to Hawaii or something. Yeah.
Where do I sign?
What's that?
Where do I sign?
Get that free trip. So we'll wrap it up there, and this is just an exciting development, and we're on the edge of it. We're really, as far as teaching guitar is concerned, we're the guys who are making it happen and moving forward, and it's only going to get better. And each time we get a bit, I know Adam's he's just sent me his results this morning, and he's got some good responses. He's getting some good return on his investment on his online marketing, his Facebook AdWords ads. So it's working.
Did you guys see the sweet video I put on in here? In the group chat?
No. That's yours, is it?
Yeah.
Which one's this?
It says I
This is
need
the video
permission.
we put on Facebook right here.
That's the link you put on the right in the
Yeah.
chat. It says you need permission or request access. Your request has been sent.
Let's have a look.
Does that work? That work?
It said I need permission.
So how do I give you permission?
I just need to
Not
switch
sure.
to mine.
Have you've got it on Google Drive? Have you?
Yeah. How do I give you
Yeah.
permission?
You might have to
I got it. I got it.
go to the permissions bit. Yeah.
I got it. I'll give you permission. Give me a second.
Yep.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. I shared it with you, David.
All right. Let's take a look. Hang on. Let's go figure out where I was now. Hold on.
I'm sending it to both Davids. Here you go.
Okay, which David?
I sent it to Hart. Now you have it too.
All right.
It's a really important video.
I bet.
It's a game changer.
I'm kidding.
There we go. Excellent.
Still go and see it. Never mind.
It's Adam doing his beautiful shreds. Excellent.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I think you missed a note somewhere.
I did, yeah. A couple. That was a joke. I sent it as a joke.
Yeah,
Just watch.
no worries.
He did. He missed a note. I'm sure he did. Cool. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that's cool. You know, if you do something like that, Adam, you're gonna hit a certain target audience in your area. So, you know, and just do different videos and try and test them. So you can do them through. You can upload them to YouTube as well and run YouTube ads via Google AdWords. It's all the same. So. I've got to go, but that's a wrap, and I shall see you guys next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya.